Wait is over. We have two NBA finalists. After this weird season, we finally come up to this weird matchup of Phoenix Suns versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Now that most of the playoffs are over, I want to talk about some what if situations which are very possible and could have changed the layout of the league completely during this season.
They be like, what? Can you teach me how to dirty? You know why? 'Cause all the bitches love it. All I need is a beat that's super bumpin'. And for you to back it up and dump it.
Leave a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I make regular NBA content and I have great ideas coming up after the playoffs. If these interest you, do subscribe to the channel. Let's start off with fourth on the list, a healthy playoffs. This might seem a boring way to start this video, but imagine if the Denver Nuggets were completely healthy with Murray and Jokic, the Lakers were completely healthy with both LeBron and AD, the Clippers were completely healthy with both Kawhi and PG for throughout the playoffs, and the Suns played as well as they did, and the Jazz would have been better with Mike Conley. And all of these teams played in the same conference. In my opinion, it would have been the best playoffs in recent history. Though the East would have been very anticlimactic with everyone healthy, with the Nets absolutely dominating everyone in the East, competitiveness in the West alone would have made this a much more memorable playoffs if everyone was healthy. And moving on to number 3 on the list, LaMelo Ball to Golden State. This, according to me, is a very underrated what if of the season. The Warriors sucked last year with their star backcourt being injured. This led to them getting a second pick in last year's draft, where they picked a young center with good potential in James Wiseman. I still believe in Wiseman and I trust him to be a good or even a great NBA player in this league. But the player the Warriors passed upon was Rookie of the Year, LaMelo Ball. Imagine that backcourt of LaMelo and Steph this season. Melo would have probably come off the bench to start off this season, but with his brilliance would have been a starter in no time. He hit his threes this season too and was an exceptional playmaker. Imagine the Steph Curry of this year, who was single-handedly obliterating defenses, having another ball handler and a threat in LaMelo Ball, who will get Steph the ball wherever the hell Steph is running around for an open three. Yeah. Now imagine LaMelo passing the ball to both Steph and Klay Thompson. Shit would be straight up unfair. The Warriors would have been instant contenders next year with LaMelo's progression. The assets they have, they would have rejuvenated their dynasty if they picked LaMelo Ball. Number 2 on this list and another underrated what if of this year is Chris Paul going to Milwaukee. Yes, it worked out for both the Suns and the Bucks and both of them made it to the finals right now. But could you imagine Chris Paul next to Giannis on a pick and roll? The reason this is realistic is because the Suns gave up only one unprotected pick in their package for Chris Paul. And I'm sure with a little tweaks in the Drew Holiday package, Sam Presti would have been drooling for that many picks. Chris Paul might have had a say in it and might have wanted to go play with that light-skinned dog in Devin Booker. But imagine Chris Paul next to Giannis on a pick and roll with one of the most efficient shooters in the league, Chris Middleton, on the weak side. It leaves me wondering on what could have been. And finally, according to me, the biggest what if of the season, James Harden to Philadelphia. Remember, we started the season thinking this would be the most balanced year in recent history. Star duos all around the league, Bron and AD, Kawhi and PG, Murray and Jokic, Harden and Westbrook, Ben and Joel, KD and Kyrie, and Giannis and Middleton to name a few. We thought this would be the most parity the league had ever had in recent history, until the Harden trade went down. Sure, the Nets lost this playoffs, but did you see how dominant they were in the Eastern Conference when only two of them were healthy? Even saying the playoffs would be a cakewalk for them is an understatement with how dominant they were. But imagine if James Harden went to Philadelphia. Philadelphia gets their much required perimeter player and Houston gets building blocks to start a rebuild. The league would still have parity with star duos everywhere in the league, and Ben Simmons would be on a lesser recognized rebuilding team where he can work on his shooting, on his weaknesses without being criticized as much as he was for it in Philadelphia. And this, according to me, makes this the biggest what if of the season. Drop it in the comments if you have any of which I might have forgotten in the what if list. And that's all I have for you today. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new.